we can double check if this is actually going live. Hello, everyone. I don't know if this is working yet, so do excuse me. I'm just going to check my phone. I'll give you a couple of minutes to all get here if anybody's actually coming. I don't really expect anyone to be here, but it would be really nice if anybody wants to pop in and say hello. So as well as the laptop, I also have my camera set up over here. So you might see kind of highlights of this live stream at some point in the future. It really depends. It really depends whether it's actually worth uploading. We shall see. So I just really wanted to have a chat today. I asked on Twitter, and I have some subjects to go through, because I really just wanted a chat, but I couldn't really think about what I wanted to chat about. So I've got some ideas here, and we're just going to plow through them and see what kind of comes off the back of them. Am I actually live though? Oh, hello. Yes, I do have somebody watching. Kariku, if I've said your name wrong there, I am so sorry. Hello, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. Yes, and we are officially live then. Like, it's nice to have somebody in there so you finally know. Okay, so I asked for questions on Twitter. If you still want to send any through, you can do it in the live stream, or you can do it on Twitter, whichever you prefer. My Twitter account is Kate_adventure. That's adventure with just one, like no S in there. So yeah, let's see if I have any more questions that I haven't seen. I don't think I will do, because yeah. It's just a whole thing trying to figure out how to live stream as well, because we used to do it through Google Hangouts, I think it was, and now they've kind of closed that down. But there's another way to do it on Chrome and through the YouTube Studio. So that's something to do instead there. Okay, so the first topic I have here, these few were picked by my friend Roman, who is from the Netherlands, and we'll be talking about that later. But yeah, we have some topics here. And the first one is food. So when it comes to food, my favorite food is Italian. I really like potato gnocchi. I feel like that's something that has just really, I just really appreciate it now. Like, I'm not sure where I was when I was a teenager. Maybe I just had too much time for pizza. I'm not really sure. But now I really have an appreciation for gnocchi. It's like potato dumplings in a kind of tomato sauce. And it's so filling as well. It always looks like there's not very much in there, but there's actually loads of it as well. And another thing that I have a deep appreciation for now, and I feel like it's a sign that I'm getting older, as weird as that is cheese. I really like brie cheese. And that's something I never even thought about until I reached about the age of 25. And then by the time I was 25, I was like, what's really awesome in the world? Brie. So yeah, I'm just loving brie at the moment, as weird as that is. I love it on baguettes with cranberry and maybe a bit of bacon. Yeah, so there's that. Before I go on with the list, I'll just say hi to some of the people in chat. If you're here, if you want to say hello, do say hello in the live chat. It'd be so nice to see your lovely faces. So Kariku has asked, what's my Insta ID? I think it's Kate's Insta Adventures, but I'm not really using it at the moment. So I haven't really put it out there anywhere, because there isn't that much to see. Like, it's just photos from years and years ago. So it's not really something that I think is going to be interesting to anyone, so I don't really put it out anywhere at the moment. Roman, also known as Pain Train X, is watching while he's cooking. Do let me know what you're cooking then, because clearly food is on your mind at the moment. And Kariku again has said, how can you get the verification badge? When I got my verification badge, this was several years ago, and it was a different process. Basically, you just had to get in contact with somebody at YouTube, and they kind of, at their own discretion, added them. I think mine was added by mistake. I genuinely do, and I have a story on my channel all about it. But the long and short of it is, the standards have changed since I got mine added. And basically, you need to have 100,000 subscribers now. And if you don't have 100,000 subscribers, you need to be like a big celebrity or somebody. You really need to be somebody who should have a subscriber badge if you're trying to get it under 100,000 subscribers. And if you are somebody under 100,000 subscribers who needs the verification badge, you've probably got some kind of contact at YouTube anyway. So I'm sorry, I can't help any more than that. You need 100,000 subscribers. There's a help document about it on YouTube, and I can't give any advice other than that. If you see anybody with a lower subscriber count than 100,000 who has the verification badge, it's probably because they got verified a long time ago, or they need it for some reason. Hello, Richard Aston. I haven't seen you in ages. How are you doing? Me and Richard used to be in the YouTube creator community, and it took us on some pretty cool adventures. I've still got the blazer somewhere, the sweatshirt. And Roman is cooking pasta, steak tartare, and green beans. Very nice. Is steak tartare like the tartar sauce you put on fish, or am I just being really, really dim there? I don't actually know. But yeah, that sounds really nice. That's a nice combo as well. Like, those are things I wouldn't think to put together. But then I'm not much of a chef, so maybe maybe I should be putting them together. I'm not really too sure. So anyways, oh yes, hello Richard. Yeah, long time. I've got the hat and jacket in your... Oh, I read that says your bedroom at first. I thought you had the hat and the jacket in your bathroom. And that was a really bizarre concept to me. Like, I was thinking, maybe, I suppose it's a point of conversation. If anybody comes round to your house, then, you know, they go to the toilet, they see it, and then they come out and they're like, hey, what's that all about? But yeah, having the hat and jacket in your bedroom makes a lot more sense than the bathroom, I'd say. Mine is certainly not kept in the bathroom. Yeah, I miss the community as well. It's a shame that it never really took off as much as it did. And Roman, who I also know from the Taylor Swift community, the Taylor Connect, I also miss that community as well. But I feel like the world has moved on a bit since forums. And I think that's why we don't really see them so much anymore. I don't really see anybody in 2019 setting up forums. And it's a shame. It's a shame, because back in the day, that was the place to be. That was the place to be. And I have some great memories and stories of things that happened because of Taylor Connect, because of the YouTube creator community. I miss them both so much. Sometimes I go onto Reddit nowadays, because Reddit is almost like a forum for everything that you can think of. So yeah, sometimes I go onto there, and that kind of gives me the forum bug. Or I sometimes just like randomly visit forums. I don't always like say hello or anything to people, but sometimes I just kind of read through, kind of see what people are saying. Yeah, funny you should say that, Roman. The new TS forum misses me too. That's one I kind of lurk on sometimes. I saw Callie mention me recently. She asked if, or she didn't ask, but she said that years ago I had a spaceship. It was really just a cardboard box, but it was a spaceship. And she was saying that the new Lover album, which came in like special boxes from Amazon, that's maybe something I would be happy to see, because it reminds me of my spaceship. And I did really like them. I never got one of the Amazon boxes myself, but that kind of made me smile when I came across that so randomly. I was like, oh, hey, yeah, I can't believe people are still thinking of me like that. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure you guys are all having so much fun without thinking of me every 2 seconds. But yeah, like, I do sometimes kind of lurk on there. I don't say very much. It's like, if you remember me from the old Taylor Connect, Roman, you'll know that sometimes I just lurk, and I know things because I've been reading things, but I don't always join in. Sometimes I'm just kind of standing there, chilling at the party, watching everybody else. Anyways, that's coming up to like 10 minutes now. This is wild. Okay, so I'll go back onto the next topic. For those of you who don't know already, what I'm basically doing is I'm basically going through a list of subjects here, just things to randomly talk about. If you want to add anything into the live chat, I can see it here. And if anybody wants to give me a thumbs up as well, that'd be really nice. So yeah, like, I asked for these on Twitter, And I've just realized, Roman said, we only think about you every other day. Talk about PH, Lewis Lauder. I don't know what you could possibly be talking about. I'll maybe talk about that more generally later. We'll maybe see how it goes. That can be one of the more random things as I maybe talk about. Further down, one of my friends has asked me to talk about Sharon Osbourne because they know that there's some interesting things I could say off the back of Sharon Osbourne. So we'll maybe see how it goes. So we'll add that to the list, Lewis. Nice to see you, by the way. And yeah, the Netherlands. So Roman, you already know this. Roman, you suggested this. I've only been to the Netherlands once, and it was very nice. From what I remember, I was dressed as a zombie that day because, of course, we travelled from Germany to the Netherlands for a concert. We were there for like 24 hours and then we went again. And we had so many delays getting from Germany to the Netherlands. Like there was problems with the train. Apparently when you go from Germany to the Netherlands, you need to like switch onto a different type of power or something. I'm not a train engineer, but it seemed awfully complicated. So like we spent a lot of time on that train just like, are we actually going to make it to the concert? And then we ended up in a random part of the Netherlands. I can't remember exactly where. And we were trying to read the signs in Dutch. We were trying to figure out if we even had a train to Amsterdam still. So yeah, that was a whole thing. This is my Hard Rock Edinburgh t-shirt I have on right now. I also have like a Hard Rock Amsterdam one. We decided before we go, if we haven't seen anything else, we at least need the t-shirts. So I do have a very similar Hard Rock Cafe one to this that said Amsterdam on it. It's not the same design, but I was going to, for a while, collect Hard Rock Cafe t-shirts that were like white with blue writing on them and diamantes and kind of like this style, but they don't seem to make them anymore, or at least I haven't seen them. So I did try to pick one up in Times Square. This was like the same design as this, but they didn't have it in my size. It was going out in a clearance. And then I kind of gave up on the idea of collecting Hard Rock Cafe t-shirts for a while. But yeah, you never know. I might get back into it at some point. Festivals is the next topic. Again, picked by Roman. Yeah, Roman picked all these. So festivals. This is an interesting one for me because within the last 24 hours, Taylor Swift has announced some of her show dates. And I'm very careful to say show dates instead of tour dates because if you look on the information that's been put out so far, nobody is mentioning a tour. Nobody is calling this a tour, but Taylor is going to make appearances at various festivals. There's some in Europe, in some very unusual parts of Europe, unusual to me because I'm used to seeing her in the UK. And she doesn't tour so extensively into Europe that often. But now the tables have turned a bit and the UK fans are the ones waiting on tour dates. And some of the European fans who are used to having to leave their country to go and see Taylor Swift are going to be able to see her in their own country. So that's really interesting. So she's going to be going to various festivals. And in the US, where she hasn't been able to find festivals that she can headline at or that really suit her vibe, she's created a couple. So there's going to be the Loverfest in America. I feel like I said that too fast. The Loverfest. So that's basically like two sets of concerts is what I'd call them. I'd call them concerts. But they're going to have like a festival vibe to them. I think she's going to invite various people to join her. It would be really cool if it was like an all-day thing like at festivals. In terms of where I'm going to go and see the show, I think I'm going to wait until I see what her plans for the UK are, because I'm not that big on the concept of festivals. And I think I'm still going to have to go and see her at a festival in the UK. But it's just not really my vibe. I don't really know. But by the time next June comes around, I'll probably be like, I want to go to every show. I want to be at the festivals. Like, it's a fun idea, but I'm not sure it's one that really vibes with me. So I'm like, my tour plans are still up in the air. But Liam would really like to be in the pit for this tour. I've been in the pit once during the Red Tour. And I've been front row a few times at various places. But yeah, you never know. You might see me in the pits. The tour, this isn't a tour, Richard Afston says. Which comedian was that? Was that Peter Kay, who went on a tour but didn't actually go anywhere? I can't remember. But yeah, that's what she could call it. As it so happens, Peter Kay did eventually end up touring That's Not a Tour. I really should have got some water before I started this. My throat is getting dry, and how long are we in? 15 minutes. I was thinking at the very most I'd maybe stay for an hour, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, see how things are looking so far. Oh, do excuse me. I will be back in a very, very quick second. I'm going to go and get a drink. In the meantime, why don't you tell me down below your suggestions for any subjects you'd like to hear me talk about? How has your day been so far today? How has your week been so far? Let me know all of that down below. Anything you want to talk about, say hello to each other. Roman, have you met Richard? Richard, have you met Roman? Anyone else who's hanging around, feel free to say hello. And tell me the last thing you ate, and can you still taste it? I'll be back in a sec. I really should have checked the clock before I went, because I'm so intrigued to know how long that took there. Okay, so we have another few people joining in. Gregory, it's so nice to see you. You're always commenting on my videos. It's so nice to see you here as well. It's so nice to see quite a few faces that I know. One that I haven't seen before, but hello, is Free Videos. If I have seen you before, I do apologise. I do like that name, you know, that's really cool. Nice to see you here, meet the gang. How is my family? My family doing all right. Luckily, they're not having to listen to this waffling right now. They're all away doing other things. Richard, you probably haven't met Roman before, because Roman was a friend from the Taylor Swift forum I was in, and Richard is a friend from the YouTube forum I was in, but you know, you both got our names. That's something you have in common. What is my grandfather's name? I never actually grew up with my grandfathers. They weren't alive when I was alive. But I have one called Fred and one called Albert. Like typical grandfather names, I'd say, you know. I feel like those are really boring answers. I feel like I should come up with something like Horatio or Geronimus. Is Geronimus even a name? I don't think it is. I think I've just made that word up. But yeah, that's a random question. If anyone else wants to weigh in there, what are your grandfather's names? Do you have a grandfather called Fred or Albert? Feel free to put it down below. Why not? It's all systems go here. This is our Wednesday party. Where is place? I don't really know what you mean by that free video. Sorry. Hello, World Travel. How is it going? It's nice to see you here. We're having a little shindig on the Wednesday afternoon. And for those of you who have just joined, if you have anything that you want to hear me talk about, feel free to put it in the comments. I have a list here of very random words that people have given me on Twitter. So feel free to add to the list. You never know. So we've done festivals. Philosophy is the next one. I don't really know what to say about philosophy, if I'm completely honest. Yeah, I don't really, like, my philosophy in life is just to see where the road takes me. I don't really think too far ahead because I don't know what's going to happen next. So if I'm thinking like 5 steps ahead and something unexpected happens at step 2, then I need to come up with a new plan as such. So my philosophy is just live life as it comes, but in saying that, also try and be sensible. Like, don't decide to not save for retirement until you're an old person. I feel like people are cringing that I just said that. But yeah, like, what are your philosophies in life? Yeah, friends. Nice to see all my online friends here. Well, not all of them, but you know, this is all right for a party on a Wednesday afternoon. Like where I am, there's people at work. If you're in the US, You're probably at work or out for the day. Yeah, so we're doing all right here. Where is everybody from, by the way? I know we've got some people from the UK. We've got the Netherlands going on here. But I don't know about everybody else. So if anybody wants to let me know, that'd be really cool. What is my favourite book? I feel like this changes all the time. I do really like a book. Let me just double check the name of the author. But this is quite a controversial one. Yeah, so one of my favourite books, and it's my favourite because it made me think and it made me change an attitude, is a book called Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. And it is quite a controversial one. It does, like, it's basically about a girl who falls in love with her brother. But I think they were like stepbrother and sister. And it was like kind of a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. And it completely changed my views because my first view was, ew, gross. What's that all about? But then as it went on, I started to think, well, why do I think like that? Why is it so wrong that they're in love? Yeah, and it completely changed my view. But it is a bit of a strange book for some people. I have suggested it to some people and they've been like, I'm sorry. The whole concept of it kind of freaked me out. I didn't really want to go any further. It's not for everybody. But yeah, that's a book that has like kind of stayed with me, even though it's been years since I read it. I also liked the Harry Potter series when they were out. When I was a kid, I loved Jacqueline Wilson. She wrote quite edgy stuff for kids. And Mallory Blackman was also really good. I feel like I'm naming a load of kids authors here. Another book that I've just finished recently is called Elizabeth is Missing. I'm just going to double check the name of the author there. Emma Healy. Elizabeth is Missing by Emma Healy. And that's basically about a lady with dementia who is remembering that her friend is missing and her mind is so jumbled that she can't remember anything else, but she's trying to investigate what happened. And people aren't believing her because she has dementia. They're like, no, Mum, you're just imagining it. Elizabeth is fine. Elizabeth is not missing. And it was just, it probably sounds really dull when I say it, but it is a really interesting idea that, like, should we be dismissing everything that dementia people say? Because they have thoughts and feelings and cohesive moments as well. And should you be listening to everything that I say? Probably not, because my mind can be a jumble. That's a perfect example. You're from Kazakhstan. Fantastic. I don't know very much about Kazakhstan. I only know about it from the movie Borat, which probably isn't the best source. But yeah, fantastic. Nice to see you here. Lovely. So moving on. My next topic is Twitter. And I don't really have any strong thoughts on Twitter, really. I do notice that on one of the Twitter accounts that I frequent, because I do have more than one, it seems like every other day somebody is being cancelled or called out, or people are saying, oh, don't follow this person. And if you follow this person, I'm going to block you and stuff like that. And I'm just not really into all of that. I just don't want any drama. I don't do drama. So... and I don't like as well, I'm very stubborn. So if somebody says you need to unfollow this person or I'm going to block you, then I'm the kind of person who goes, on you go then. Because even if you're right in your opinion of that person, I don't like being told what to do. So yeah, I don't spend much time on Twitter nowadays. Probably more on the Taylor Swift Twitter that I have than my regular Twitter. And I did have a Twitter years ago that I don't really use anymore because I got locked out of it. And then they asked me for my phone number and I couldn't remember it. I keep on glimpsing my hair at the moment as well. If you haven't seen my last video, it was dyed pink at the end of July for a modelling thing that I was doing. Not like modelling for the camera, but my hairdresser needed somebody to practice on. And she used my hair. So when it first got done, it was kind of like a rosy pink at the back. And then this was like a bright hot pink. This is the bit that looks closest to what it did at the end of June. There's photos in my last video. And it's kind of faded now. and the front is now kind of turning into a blonde, but if you kind of go beneath that initial thing, it's still kind of pink on the side. So I do like to kind of tie it up sometimes and have a kind of rainbow going on. I have so much fun with my hair right now. What else are we saying here? Twitter is probably the most harsh of all social media. Yes, I think so. Maybe Tumblr more in the Taylor Swift fandom, because it gets a little bit more toxic and people start to get like they want Taylor to see what they're saying and they want her approval on things. So I feel like if you have what they consider a wrong opinion on Tumblr, then you're maybe going to get called out there. But also because Taylor's there, then maybe they're wanting to appear a bit more innocent too. I don't really know. Twitter, yeah, it does feel very toxic at times and harsh. And I feel like I've just kind of grown out of that. Like, I grew up in a world where I didn't really go home to the internet every single night. I certainly didn't have social media. I've lived without it and I can live without it again. So if anybody wants to cancel me, then, like, it's not the biggest thing to me as it is to these people. And maybe that's why I don't get it when people get all worked up about things. But I feel so sorry for these people as well, because they've maybe just expressed themselves in a wrong way, or maybe not entirely thought through the thoughts cohesively. And suddenly there's loads of people on the internet telling them that they shouldn't be around, which is really unfair. I sometimes just want to give people lots and lots of hugs. My hair is very nice. Thank you very much, Kariku. That's very nice to say. Live and let live is my philosophy, says Gregory. And you're from Fort Myers, Florida. Fantastic. I haven't been to Florida since the millennium. I went to Disney World, years and years and years ago. And we went in about June. And I remember that, like, all the millennium celebrations were just kind of wrapping up at Disney World at that time. So that's how I remember it was the year 2000, as weird as that is. There's still photos somewhere, and you can see which was my first day at Disneyland, because I'd only just landed in Florida. It was during a heat wave. There were forest fires and all sorts. And there's a picture of me next to Mickey, and my face is bright red, because as soon as my face gets temperature or embarrassed or anything like that, it just goes a lovely tomato colour, and it's always been like that. So yes, there's a picture in my house somewhere of Mickey and a small tomato, which was me. Well, like small for a person, but big for a tomato, if that makes sense. So yeah, lovely. Do you go to Disney World much? Is Disney World nearby Fort Myers? Because I feel like in the UK, we have the assumption that everything is quite nearby. And that's not necessarily the case in the US. Like, the US is massive compared to the UK. We're like an itty-bitty thing. So yeah, like Fort Myers, is that anywhere near Orlando? Yeah, and have you ever seen an alligator as well? I think I saw one in McDonald's, but that feels like a really bizarre memory at the same time. I feel like I'm remembering that wrong, because that's very specific. But I think they had them in a tank at a McDonald's that we went to. But again, I was very little at the time. That could just be a really, really bizarre memory, because certainly the McDonald's over here don't have alligators. Okay, so moving on, we've done Twitter. Sport is the next topic. I used to do a lot of swimming as a kid, like so much swimming that I was on a competitive swim team, and my hair constantly smelt of chlorine, and I had to have 3 different swimsuits because they were never dry in time for my next practice. And I had like one that was specific for like swim week meets at the weekend. It was like 3 or 4 times a week that I would practice. And that was an experience. that was an experience. I was never particularly fast. So it wasn't something that I kept up in the long term. I eventually stopped. But yeah, like I feel like that gave me a good basis for swimming. I know how to swim. I don't know how to save somebody's life if they're drowning in a pool, but I do know how to swim. I do know how to swim. Apart from that, I wasn't really into sports so much. If you can count walking as a sport, then I went for a nice walk yesterday. But you never see walking in the Olympics, do you? So I don't think that really counts. I've always said as well that if I grew up in the US, I think I would have been into baseball and softball, but they're not really a thing over here so much. Like it is a thing, but it's not a big thing. Like there's certainly people I've spoken to who are into softball and they follow it over here. Not softball, sorry, baseball. But I just don't feel like we have the weather for it. And I feel like it's a lot more of a subculture over there. Like you can sit there all day, you can eat your food, like your corn dogs and what are the ones in the song, like the wafers and the cracker jacks. Yeah, and you know, like you get up at certain innings and sing songs and stuff. I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to baseball, but I wish I did. I wish I was part of that more. And when I went to the US the first time, when I went to San Francisco, I made sure to go and see an Oakland game. And that probably sounds weird because I said I went to San Francisco, but San Francisco was away somewhere. So I went to Oakland. I went all the way to Oakland to see a baseball game. It was great fun. Oh my gosh, my throat is so dry. So Roman has said, speaking of chlorine, do you like 21 Pilots? And I don't dislike them, but I don't really know much about them at the same time. I feel like I've kind of missed that whole thing. Like it's still going on, obviously, but I feel like I'm somehow missing it. I'm somewhere else kind of oblivious to everything that's happening with them. So I'm guessing Chlorine is the name of a song. I could be wrong. Maybe that's the name of a person in the band. Who knows? I don't. Roman might. But yeah, so do they do that one where it's like, wish I could turn back time to the good old days. Na 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 da 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 da. Stressed Out. And you would get the title eventually. Yeah, like that's probably the only 21 Pilots song I know. If that's even a 21 Pilots song, I don't know. So Chlorine is a song. That's good to know. Gregory's saying your comment feed is really latent, like you're kind of lagging behind. Like I have kind of seen some things that seem to reference things that I was speaking about quite a while ago. So I don't know whether you're kind of playing this back or whether you're watching it live, because it feels like you're a bit behind. You've just said yes. Is that yes, it's a song. Yeah, that's probably what that means. The thing is as well, I'm not sure how much of a lag there is between me speaking and you guys getting what I'm saying. So sometimes I'm seeing the comments and I'm like, oh, what does that mean? I've got one that says good idea, and that's probably relating to something I said a while back, but I can't say for sure what it was about. So if I see you, like I'm seeing all your comments, but if I'm not replying to them, it's maybe because I don't understand what they're relating to. Oh, you're sitting in a very poor Wi-Fi area. Oh, they're annoying. They're annoying. I understand the struggle. The struggle is real. But yeah, like my Wi-Fi, I'm very grateful to, seems to be holding up so far. This is coming into like the 34-minute mark. Yeah, it probably is just a few seconds, Richard. I can't remember how I set it up because I do have the option, I think, to make it as long as like a minute. So if I see any comments that need to be taken out, or if I need to edit anything out, maybe. I'm not really sure what the purposes of that is. Second yes was for Stressed Out being a 21 Pilots song. Okay, lovely. Yeah, that's good to know then. I can at least name one song. I'm down with the kids. But yeah, I don't really have any strong opinions about 21 Pilots. I do like what they do with the logo, but because they have such a complicated way of like shorthanding the name, I also don't really know how to write it unless I'm writing out 21 Pilots, because I haven't, like, it's got kind of like slashes and things. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. You didn't come here to see me drink water, but my mouth is so dry right now. Like, I had it right up to here earlier. That's it. Yeah, it looks like a kind of angry person, Roman. Like, I can't do the face, but if you were to turn that sideways, it looks like somebody with a monobrow, and then a nose, and then the mouth is like this. Like, they're not sure whether they're angry or happy. But I've never really seen anybody frown and smile at the same time. Like, my face doesn't even know how to do that. Okay, moving on. For those of you who don't know, I see we have 5 people watching right now. That's wild. Hi, guys. If you want to leave me a thumbs up, that'd be really cool. Thank you so much for everybody who's sticking around to hear my ramblings. I am currently working my way through a sheet of paper that has a list of topics on it. So if you have anything that you would like to hear me talk about, do let me know. You can put it in the comments. You can put it to me on Twitter. My Twitter is Kate's_adventure. It's adventure without an S, but if you were to search Kate's Adventures, it would maybe come up anyway. But the easiest way for you to get involved is probably just to sit in the comments here. And I'm also recording for YouTube right now, which is funny because this is going on to YouTube, but maybe somebody wants to see what they missed, but they don't want to like sit through everything. So if they don't want to sit through everything, we're maybe going to make a highlights video. It really just depends if this comes out anywhere cohesive at all. I'm not really too sure. Okay. So yeah, if you have anything you'd like to hear me talk about, if you have any questions, we can put them in the comments. I feel like this is more interesting than a Q&A where I just like sit. Like, it's interactive. It's nice to hear what you people think. You people. I don't know why that sounded like such an angry thing there. Okay, so moving on. Pet peeves. I think I kind of talked about this earlier a bit. When people try to cancel other people on social media, and some people arguably do deserve to be cancelled, but even then, it seems like a strange concept to cancel people. You can't cancel a person. You can cancel their behavior and say, we're not going to tolerate that anymore. But to cancel a person just feels very strange to me. Like, I'm not, like I said before, I'm not born in a social media age. I didn't grow up with this stuff. And it kind of concerns me a little that it's such a part of younger kids like community now, because it feels like we're in an age where it isn't policed as much as it should be. People aren't supported as much as they should be if they are cancelled. So yeah, anyways, that got awfully dark for a minute there. Other pet peeves are when somebody blames me for something I didn't do. That very much annoys me. When like it goes down in history as this was Kate's fault, or Kate did this, or Kate was wrong, and there was something else going on there that hasn't really been addressed. I'm trying to think of more light-hearted pet peeves. I feel like these are very, very angry ones. Let's see, pet peeves. I mean, another 21st century kind of one is the other week I was literally sitting doing nothing. And then I got busy for 10 minutes. And when I came back and checked my emails, I'd missed a very important one that I needed to respond to right away. And because it had been sent at just the right time for me to miss it, I missed out on something that could have been quite fun. So yeah, like things like that, like unfortunate timings and just irritating little things. My pet peeves are irritating little things. I feel, yeah, I don't think I've really answered that question, but sorry about that. The next thing I have on my list is Sharon Osbourne. And one of my friends made me add this to the list because they knew that like Sharon Osbourne is somebody I relate to what I'm like when I've been out and I've had a good time and I've had a few drinks. Because there's like a video that's kind of like circling Facebook at the moment. It's kind of turned into a meme. And it's like when your mum comes back from the pub. And it's basically a video of Sharon Osbourne when she was a judge on the X Factor, and she's just walking down the corridor backstage, giggling away. And then as she's walking through a door, she just suddenly turns and walks into the door. And the person she's with is also giggling away, and they're like laughing and things. And I feel like every time I've been like out on a night out, I get to that stage at some point in the night. But I'm not going to go much further with that, I don't think, because I feel like if I start talking about what I'm like on a night out, I'm going to start talking about like what my friends are like on a night out, and they maybe don't want me to put that on the internet. But yeah, I do some silly things when I've been out sometimes. A quick story I will tell you is like just to get a little taste of what I can be like is yeah, like I ended up like FaceTiming one of my friend's mums when I was out recently. And, maybe that's not so weird if I knew their mum, but we didn't really know each other. It's just that she'd been having a drink around about the same time, and it didn't seem weird anymore because we were just like chatting away to each other, like, how are you, my friend's mum? It's going good, it's going good, Kate, or person I've never really known before. I try to drink sensibly. I do have a good time, and I do kind of push the limit sometimes, but I know at what point in the night to stop. And I know how to stop myself from getting hungover the next day, touch wood. So I feel like it's a good balance. But yeah, so Sharon Osbourne basically reminds me of me when I've been out for the night. Another story I could tell you about Sharon Osbourne, although it's not so much about Sharon Osbourne, it's just that Sharon is married to Ozzy Osbourne, and Ozzy Osbourne was at the European Music Awards the year that me and my friend Lily went. Basically, we were there because we thought Taylor Swift might be coming along. Taylor Swift didn't come to the MTV Europe Music Awards in the end that year, but we still had tickets, and I'd won a competition. So I had like this wristband on that said that I was going to be allowed into an area where they were going to be like filming. I was basically going to be in the background of one of the performances during this show. And security had this sheet of paper that said what everybody's wristbands meant. And just say, I can't remember what colour mine was, but just say it was a blue paper wristband. They basically had a sheet of paper that said, if you had a blue plastic wristband, you were like a super, super VIP, and you were to be like taken to anywhere you wanted to go. So every time we were looking for directions to find out where we were meant to be with our blue paper wristbands, they kept on trying to like move out the way. Like we went to somebody at the front of the stage, and then they moved aside to allow us backstage. And it was only my friend Lily going, are you sure? That they were like, oh, wait a minute, if you don't know about this, you're probably not a VIP. I was just going to go with this. I was like ready to meet Ed Sheeran. But yeah, at one point when we first went into the venue, they were about to like seat us in this particular area. And then my friend went, are you sure? And then they said, oh, actually, no, you're meant to be at the other side of the room. And if we went through that first door, if we'd let them sit us down, we would have been right near Ozzy Osbourne, because he was like the guest of honor that night. But yeah, like me and my mum still laugh about that sometimes. Like that time I could have been chilling with Ozzy. It was so, so funny. Like it was such a bizarre thing. Was I wearing a glitter dress to that show? I wouldn't have called it glitter. It was kind of glittery. and it had a lot of feathers at the bottom. That's how I remember it the most. I suppose you could call it glittery. I wore it again recently, and whenever I turned around, because this had a ton of feathers on it, it looked so different to anything I've ever had before. Whenever I turned around, I could see a little trail of feathers from wherever I'd been before to like where I was now. Yeah, that dress is a fun one. I'm surprised there's still feathers on it because I've had it for several years now, and it's never lost so many feathers that it's bald. And that surprises me because I can be awfully clumsy. I think I've like slammed the feathers indoors and all sorts, and it's still working out. Gregory Johnson says, "Wow, yes, that was a very surreal night. It was very surreal. It was sad not to see Taylor, but it was still a really good experience to see like how they film an award show and things." And then we went back to our hotel, which was like nearby, and I was posting on Facebook saying, "Well, that was fun." And then my aunt said, "Wait, what are you talking about? Aren't you still there?" And we turned on the TV and they were still showing the show that we'd been at and had already left. Like it had already finished like 20 minutes beforehand, but they were still showing it on the TV as live, because what they were doing was we were maybe having like a very, very short break between acts. But actually what they were doing was they were having like 3 minutes for the adverts and things. So what started out as a delay of about like 30 seconds got bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where we were watching this show for about half an hour before it finished after we got back. But yeah, that's just strange. I remember Ariana Grande opening it as well, and she'd done like a medley of her songs, and I didn't really know many of her songs, but it was really cool to see her moving around and stuff, and the way that they done things. They made the Glasgow Hydro look so big, and it's not really that big in reality. It's not really that big. They were just very imaginative with how they were using the space. And that's probably the closest I'm ever going to get to going to a filming of Top of the Pops, which was big when I was a kid. It was like a chart show in the UK. And they every week the pop stars would show up and perform and stuff like that. And I was always so jealous of the people in the audience. Anyway, so yes, that's Sharon Osbourne. And we're coming to near the end of my list now. Like I've kind of hit through a lot of these, and I suppose when it's getting to like the 45-minute mark, then maybe we should be. I've just had a comment from somebody whose name I'm not going to say, but yeah, like hello Biggis. If you are a genuine commenter, I don't think you are though. So. Yeah. Yeah, did you see that, Gregory? I'm not sure if you did, but if you know, you know. But yeah, I'm just gonna sweep that aside there. I'm certainly not going to say your name, but hello Biggis, I'll say your first name. So yeah, if there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, if you're any of the people who've been sticking around for so long, thank you so much. Yeah, Gregory, you saw that, you know. The people on playback will be like, what's that all about? But yeah, so if there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, we'll probably be wrapping this up soon. There's only so long that I can talk about, like only so long that I can talk for, I feel. Mostly because my mouth is dry. I could probably speak rubbish all day, but I'm not sure anybody has the patience for that. So the next topic we have here is Shakespeare. And as I was saying, if there's anything you'd like to ask, if there's anything you'd like me to hear me chat about just briefly, put it into the comments. I would love to see it, unless your name is Biggis, in which case, maybe not so much. But yeah, so Shakespeare. I didn't read much Shakespeare at school. We did study The Merchant of Venice, and that's the only one I remember doing. And I remember reading it and not understanding a lot of what was going on. But I do sometimes wish that I was more into Shakespeare. And I feel like I feel like the plot lines of Shakespeare are like recurring things throughout the years. Like sometimes when I was studying Shakespeare at school, sometimes I'd go home and I'd watch the telly and I'd be like, oh, that's a bit like the plot of this, or that could be like an adaptation of this. One of my favourite films is Clueless, which I was about to say is an adaptation of Shakespeare, but it totally isn't. It's of Emma by Jane Austen. But another one of my favourite things, my favourite musical, is West Side Story, which is a modern day, at the time, adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. So that's how I like Shakespeare. I get into Shakespeare more when I see adaptations than when I see like the text itself. When I see the text itself and see how he wrote it, I find it very hard to relate. I feel like I have to really, really concentrate to even understand what's going on. And if I didn't have my English teacher there practically translating it into English from English, then I wouldn't have understood it. But the people who are intelligent enough to take it and relate it to the modern world, or relate it into things that we're more familiar with, then like that's where I connect with Shakespeare. And also when I see things on TV sometimes and I think, that reminds me of that, or that character is almost like that person. I'm pretty sure yesterday I was watching TV and I was like, that reminds me of Puck in A Midsummer's Night's Dream. Have I ever read A Midsummer's Night's Dream? No, but I've undoubtedly seen an adaptation at some point in some form or another. I am familiar with the characters, or some of them at least. And yeah, I feel like Shakespeare has been pretty paramount to the English culture anyway. I did have a book when I was little as well, and this was actually a book series, and this was called Angels Unlimited. And I really, really liked that book series as a kid, and I'd probably like it as an adult as well. Like if I was a parent, I would want my kid reading those books, because it was basically about a girl called Mel, and she died, and then she became an angel. And what the angels would do is they'd go to various points in history and help people who needed their help. And they didn't always know why they were there at first. But then over the course of time there, they'd realize which character they were meant to help, which character they were meant to connect with and things. And I remember that one of the books was all about like Shakespearean times. And like it was just a really good book series, not so much for me learning about Shakespeare, although like they did have kind of a plot line that there were like two guys, and one of them had like all the moves, and he seemed to be very, whatchamacallit, he was like pulling all the moves with the ladies. He seemed to be very suave and sophisticated. And he seemed to be quoting Shakespeare at times. So for most of the book, Mel thought that's Shakespeare, but actually it was his more quiet friend who was actually Shakespeare, him the lines. So whenever I think of Shakespeare, I think of like this quiet guy who's just feeding his friend all these lines that he can use to get the ladies and be super cool. But yeah, and I found that book series really, really interesting because I learned so much. And I think it really helped me in history class to understand how various settings worked and things. I don't really know how to describe it, but it certainly taught me a lot more about history and about decades of time that I haven't really thought about so much. How about Macbeth? It's a good job I'm not in a theatre right now. Macbeth is the play that's cursed, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's the one that was being performed when the globe burnt down. I've never seen it myself. There was like a really cool adaptation of it at the Fringe that I wanted to see. Like the Fringe in Edinburgh is like a big theatre and arts event, if anybody doesn't know. So yeah, like it was right on my doorstep. I didn't find the time or month to go and see it. So I like Macbeth is one that I'd quite like to see. If I was to pick my top three, it'd probably be Macbeth. Romeo and Juliet, I feel, is like the poster child of Shakespeare. So yeah, let's add Romeo and Juliet in there. And maybe The Tempest. Maybe The Tempest, because again, I read a book a while back, and the girl in it was going to be in The Tempest. So I think those would be my three that I'd like to understand a lot better than I do already. Although, to be fair, Romeo and Juliet is everywhere, so I feel like I understand Romeo and Juliet, or at least the basis of it. Is Macbeth the one with the witches, or is that Hamlet? I can't remember. I like witches as well, so if they were there, that'd be really cool. Okay. Okay, OMG. Is that, again, I'm not really sure if you're talking about, like, I'm maybe just saying okay too much, or is that relating to something? I'm not too sure. Yeah. So anyways, potato. Oh, yeah, the witches. The witches. I do like witches. Potatoes are very, very talented vegetables. I feel like if anybody was to log in right now, they'd just be like, what is she talking about? Has she really been talking for 55 minutes about potatoes? I haven't. I'm just going through a load of random topics. Yeah, so potato is the next one that I've got to talk about. There's actually a TV production company in the UK that is called Potato. So whenever I see it's written down, I want to go, potato. I think it's maybe something to do with Paddy. His surname's gone. The one who does Take Me Out, is Take Me Out done by Potato? I'm not really too sure. Potatoes are very talented vegetables. There's a lot you can do with them. The prospects are amazing. I love potatoes. If I were to pick my favourite way to have potatoes, probably be in potato gnocchi. But there's also like a really cool pizza I've had a couple of times where they have like slices of potato on the top, and instead of like a tomato base, it's like a kind of cream base. I don't know the name of it. It's maybe got some spring onions in there too. But yeah, I like potatoes in those formats particularly. If we were to go more mainstream, they're very nice in chips, they're very nice in stew. I'm not so big a fan of baked potatoes. Fried potatoes, I don't think I've ever tried them. Unless they kind of come out like roast potatoes, which we do in the oven, in which case roast potatoes are very, very nice. I don't think I've ever fried potatoes though. And we have potato scones. Potato scones, they kind of mop up the baked bean juice in an English breakfast. Here in the South, fried potatoes are awesome. Let's be honest here, Gregory. All food in the US is awesome. I'm still so annoyed I haven't tried a corn dog yet, although you're probably cringing at the thought that I could have fried potatoes, but I'd rather have a corn dog. There's so many nice things that are around in America that like, let's be honest, if I just went on a food holiday over there, the plane probably wouldn't be able to take off when I was leaving again. I could eat so much if I went on holiday to America, and I do every single time. I spend a fortune in places like the Cheesecake Factory and Olive Garden, and I know they are so, so basic, but I feel like, if I ask people for advice on what they recommend, at least the chances are they've been to Olive Garden and, Cheesecake Factory and stuff like that. We've completely gone off track from potatoes, but let me tell you a little story again. You've maybe heard it before if you're a regular on the channel, or maybe I'm just being big-headed. But yeah, another story about the Cheesecake Factory is when I went to the Cheesecake Factory in San Francisco, what I do quite regularly is I have one cheesecake to eat in the restaurant, and then I have one to bag up and take home with me, or take back to the hotel anyway. And I do that quite regularly. And usually the cheesecake is so big, they end up like bagging up the other one as well. But this first time, I didn't really have my technique cut down. So I just got the one cheesecake, and I was walking home from the restaurant, and there was one of these really, really annoying salespeople in the road. And there's one of those ones where they're like, oh, take our free sample or take our flyer. And then as soon as you go to take it, they're like, let's just take you in here and we'll show you the products. And then you're kind of stuck in this very long sales pitch with them, and you don't really want to be there. I'm pretty sure they know you don't want to be there, but they try to make things as awkward as possible. So eventually you just want to give them money and basically pay them to go away. And ended up in one of those. She was trying to sell me face cream. She took me in. She was giving me like a kind of facial and things. She only done half my face, which was funny. So half of my face was slightly cleaner than the other side until I got back to the hotel. And when we went into like this kind of little beauty area kind of thing, I put my cheesecake down along with the rest of my stuff. And when I eventually got out of this sales pitch, I was so desperate to leave that I very quickly grabbed my stuff, ran. And it was only when I was further down the street, I was like, I've left her with my cheesecake. I left my cheesecake with that horrible saleswoman. It's so annoying. But yeah, so then I had to kind of think, do I really want to go back? And I was speaking to the sales assistants in Lush, and they were like, no, honey, just let it go. Just let it go. We've got some people called SCP coming in there. Hello, Brain, and hello, Mr. Feet, if those are your names. Yeah, hello, everyone. I can't really decide whether you're trolling or not, but yeah, nice to see you. How's it going? Special containment procedures. I don't really know what that stands for, but that sounds really cool. That sounds really cool. It's nice to see you here. Gregory is saying there's a cheesecake factory in Tampa. I've never been to Tampa, but I think of like big concerts and things when I think of Tampa. I don't really know much about Tampa, but yeah. Roman has said, it's a bit weird to say this. My weekend started. I have 4 days off. Tomorrow is your birthday. Happy birthday, Roman. I hope you have a great day. Planning to eat sliced baked potatoes for my birthday meal. See, like potatoes can be anything, even a special birthday meal. I'm not sure that's what I picked for my birthday meal, but it's your special day. You can have whatever you want. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Yes, so we're just going to get rid of somebody here. Blah, 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 blah. The thing about these live streams is sometimes you have to kind of see me. Like some people are just not always in it for the right reasons there. So we've just fixed a couple of things there. Hello, Scottish Geeks. How's it going, Derek? It's nice to see you here. You're just missing out on all the birthday celebrations here. And you turn 40. Oh my gosh. Have a lovely, lovely birthday. And I'm sure everybody else in this live stream as well, at some point or another, is going to have a birthday. So when your birthday comes around, I hope you have a wonderful time. It's actually one of my friends' birthday today, so I should probably say happy birthday to them, but it can wait until after the live stream, unless they want to pop into the live stream, in which case, happy birthday. Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. My birthday isn't until like the middle of winter, so it's still a while to go. It's still a while to go. But yeah, I'm loving all the birthday messages. It's just so wholesome here. So we're coming to the end of my list of things that I'm going to talk about. So we've just got algorithm left now. If there's anything else you'd like to hear me talk about, do put it into the chat, because once I've run out of things to speak about, I'll probably be going, and I should probably get going soon anyway, because I've been here for 1 hour and 3 minutes. And if you've been here for 1 hour and 3 minutes too, I'm probably taking a lot of time out of your day. But yeah, you're turning 41. That's not ancient. There's still a lot of life in you yet, Roman. What is for dinner tonight? Oh, that is the question, Scottish Geeks. That is the question, because I didn't go food shopping at the weekend. I did not go food shopping, or at least not properly. Like, I went in and I bought a load of rubbish. I bought a load of super noodles, and yeah, I bought a load of super noodles, and I didn't really need super noodles, but I bought them anyway. So I have a lot of super noodles and not much of anything else. I do have waffles. I could have potato waffles, or actually be a I could actually be like an adult and go out and get something, I suppose. So yeah, it's all up in the air at the moment as to what I'm having for dinner. I do have loads of pasta as well. I could do like a kind of pasta and sauce type thing, maybe. Yeah, I could do something, but I done that last night as well. And I was very impressed with myself last night because, like, we're talking about adulting. I could do the food shop, or what I done last night is I managed to pick out just enough pasta for 2 servings with no leftovers today. Like sometimes, I do like leftovers. I do like leftovers. But sometimes I just end up with like this massive bowl of leftovers that's still there several days later. And several days later, like the pasta phase has just gone. Like I'm just over it. I just want something new. Like if I've been eating macaroni cheese for 3 days, when it comes to day 4, I'm just not into it anymore. So I feel like I'm starting to perfect the skill of how much pasta to take in order to feed myself adequately. And I feel very proud of myself for that. Like basically what I was doing was I was going into the pack and just taking like fistfuls. So last night I ate like 2 fistfuls worth. So that was, if you're wondering how much pasta you should get, that's what I would recommend. But obviously it depends how much you want to eat. Like that was probably more like two and a half portions maybe. My lovely friend Liam has sent some suggestions, but I feel like he sent them to my wrong account. I think he sent them to the other one. Oh, there we go. So, funnily enough, Liam has also suggested that I talk about potatoes. Yeah, so everybody's just loving the potatoes. You can't go wrong with a good potato. Use a scale. I probably should just use a scale, Roman. I really should, but I don't. I just use my hands and hope for the best. I'm very bad when it comes to following recipes. I do just wing it sometimes. Like even if I have a recipe book there, I sometimes just see how it goes. I've had to rewrite a banana muffins recipe before because I was just making it up as I went along. Yeah. And another thing that I have is I have a thing called spatsy. I'm probably saying that really, really badly. It's spelled like Spatze. Lily got me it. Lily is originally from Germany. And it's kind of like a kind of pasta come dumpling type thing. And I think you're meant to just kind of make leftovers out of it. It's like the pasta equivalent of bubble and squeak. And it's so, so nice. It's so nice. So I could make spatsy, if that's even how it's said. Oh, Scottish Geeks has been shouted for dinner. Enjoy your dinner, Derek. Nice to see you. Enjoy. I should have asked what you were having for dinner, but never mind. Maybe could have given me some inspiration. But never mind. Okie dokie. So the next suggestion from Liam is simply the word moist. Liam is obsessed with the word moist, like actual obsessed. Like he loves it. Like I've been to his shows before, and he sometimes just managed to work the word moist into an acoustic set where he's just playing music with his guitar, and he'll find a reason to say moist because he just really, really loves that word. In the UK, in TK Maxx, which is in America as TJ Maxx, I'll just like translate that for you, Gregory. They had a mug that had the word moist written on it in like really fancy cursive, and I wanted to get that for him, but everybody was really into it, and I never really got round to going in. And I feel like if I had went in, I feel like I would have came out with something completely entirely different. But I don't really have anything against the word moist. I feel like most people are a lover of the word moist or a hater of the word moist. And there's probably a load of us in the middle who just don't really have any opinions to share on social media about the word moist. It's just another word. It does kind of sound like one raindrop just kind of going down like moist, moist. Moist? That's meant to be a dripping tap, but yeah. So maybe that's where the word came from, but I don't really have any strong thoughts about that. Love you, Liam. And the last thing he's asked me to speak about is flip-flops. So, yeah, flip-flops. I don't wear them very often. I recently gained a new pair because I went to the spa. Like the spa is in like a beauty spa, as opposed to, if you're in the UK, you may be thinking I mean the local corner shop. I don't mean the local corner shop. I mean the spa, SPA, like for a nice beauty day. And they gave us like this little robe and they gave us some flip-flops and they said we could keep the flip-flops. And I was probably a bit more excited about that than I should have been. Like, there's just something I love about freebies. So I don't really wear them very often, but I do own a pair of flip-flops. And the last time that I wore flip-flops before then was probably when I was like competitive swimming. I used to wear them, and because I was swimming so much, I used to actually have kind of like a weird Y-shaped blister on my feet. I feel like that's too much information, but yeah, like my feet were a little bit bigger than the flip-flops. So I seem to permanently have a mark where the flip-flop kind of separated, like a little Y tattoo on both my feet. Hello, L42. Nice to see you here. How's it going? And SCP, nice to see you too. We're just kind of wrapping it up now. I'm so sorry. I do have one last thing to speak about. And if anybody else wants me to speak about anything, you still have time to put it in the live chat before we wrap this up entirely. But this is the last thing on my list. And yeah, so make it quick if there's anything you want to know. So the algorithm, or actually literally the word that's put down here is algorithm. So I suppose I could speak about the YouTube algorithm, or I could choose to speak about, like, there's a How I Met Your Mother episode where this lady has like an algorithm to find your perfect match. And Ted Mosby at first is like, oh no, I think I'll come across the one if I just kind of look around. And she was like, but if you think about this many people in New York, this many people your age, this many people already in relationships, and these many people are not attracted to you, you have a 1 in ridiculous number chance of finding the one. And it really kind of freaked him out and stuff. And there was a whole shindig off the back of that because that was the beginning of the episode. And of course, they needed to make another 20 minutes out of it. So when you say algorithm, I also think of that for some reason. But the YouTube algorithm is probably quite annoying to any YouTube creator. Basically, the YouTube algorithm seems to pick up, like, it doesn't always pick up the most high quality videos. Sometimes it's like really bizarre things that seem to take off and go off into places. And it can be quite frustrating as a creator sometimes as well, when you've worked so hard on a particular video and, you know, you've worked days and weeks and really thought about it and really been so careful putting it together, and the video doesn't really go anywhere. But then you put like a video together in like half a day, and people love it. And it's been like, it's a very confusing thing, the YouTube algorithm, but I suppose human beings and people who watch things can be very confusing as well. Like, I suppose it says that people do really like unboxing things and looking around camper vans and strange things like that. Underwater showering. Like, there's a thing, showering? No, underwater showering. Kate, what are you talking about? I was thinking of extreme ironing, is what I actually meant by underwater showering. And there's like a channel that does like extreme ironing, and they done like one that was under the sea, and they had like the ironing board, and they were ironing a shirt under the, I don't know where the word shower came from. Underwater showering is just being underwater. Curly fries. Have I tried them? I love curly fries. I don't know what it is about curly fries, but they seem to have so much more flavour and be a lot more delicious than regular fries. I don't know if the ones I get have like a chili coating on them or something, but there's something that adds a little bit of pizzazz to them. Big fan of curly fries. Like if somebody asked me if I wanted, we call them chips. If somebody wanted chips right now, I'd be like, oh, not like straight cut ones, but if you have curly fries, now we're talking. I love curly fries. Yeah, like, but I've only really had ones from the supermarket over here. I think it is the seasoning. I think you're right, Gregory. Yeah, I'm a big fan of curly fries. Love me some curly fries. I've only really had them at like school dinners because I don't know why we had curly fries at school dinners. That's not really a thing in 2019, but it was a thing back in the day. Um, yeah, like I've only really had them in school and at the supermarket, and not really anywhere else. But yeah, like so, I'm a big fan of curly fries. So we've been here an hour and 15 minutes. That's a very long time for me, and my voice is very, very sore right now. I'm probably going to need to head off and get either some food in or cook some food or both. It's been so, so nice to see you all. Thank you so, so much for dropping in. We should maybe do this again sometime. I don't really know when, but you know, sometimes the mood just hits me and I just decide to go live, which is probably very frustrating for you lots because you don't know when it's going to happen. But when I'm in the mood for like a chatty kind of more casual video, I do feel like it's better to do it as a live stream and get like people's reactions and speak about different things. So it's been so, so good to see you all. Thank you so, so much for logging in. If you're watching this back, thank you so much for like your patience. I don't know if anybody does want to watch this back, but if you do decide to watch it back, let me know down in the comments. Leave me a little thumbs up. Give me some thoughts on all the things that we've talked about. There's been quite a list. This is the before live stream list, and we've spoken about other things too. Also, I don't know if anybody's noticed Winnie the Pooh in the corner of this scrap bit of paper. I've had that notebook for years now. Yes, it's been so, so good to see you all. Gregory, Roman, Derek, who else have we had? We've had quite a few people. Richard. We did have Donald Trump pop in, but I don't think that was a genuine comment. Kariku, free videos, world travel, SCP. It's been so good to see you all. L4th too. If I've missed you all, if I've missed anybody, I still appreciate you. I'm so, so sorry. I'm just very bad at doing lists and having to list more than 2 people. Thank you so, so much for logging in. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Roman, have a wonderful birthday, and I'll see you all soon. Cheerios.